Bring Susan Shaw in now. She's a real expert on this, and she's been looking at this for quite some time. Let me just start you with this question, Susan. Very simple. If this dispersant, if this correct Sol 9500 is as bad as they say it is, why aren't we seeing massive fish kills, given how much more we're now learning was used than we originally thought was being used?
Right. Hi, Rick. Well, first of all, let me just say that we knew going into this, the EPA knew, and this was in the National Academy of Sciences report, that this mixture is highly toxic, extremely toxic to many, many species. And just to single out a couple of shrimp and, small animals, it's just totally in disagreement with what we knew going into it.
But where's the data? Where's the data, Susan?
Back up here. The data, you realize now that for months, the Gulf has been closed off to independent researchers, and because it's of the lawsuits, so people can't get in there, so that's one thing. But there's a lot of anecdotal data, and I was there personally 3 weeks ago, and when I was on your show, and I can tell you this: fishermen across the Gulf, independent of each other, not knowing what anybody else is saying, told me they've never seen so many dead fish. And I said, oh, really? I hadn't heard that. Just like what you're saying. Yeah, all the bait fish were dead up on the beaches. All the small herring were dead. And then when I went out on Barataria Bay with the shrimpers, I was out there. They showed me dead material in the water. It was eerie out there. There was nothing alive in that water, and that's a very highly impacted area. But
the stories you're sharing with us, unfortunately, and look, I'm not saying that you're not right, and I'm certainly not saying those fishermen aren't right. That's anecdotal. I mean, that's correct. Somebody told somebody they saw something, as opposed to we did a test and recorded this percentage of the population of this type of fish is dead. Where is that kind of data?
Well, I think we were banned from the area before we could get in and see all that. I don't think we are getting the picture, and exactly what needs to happen is we need to measure. There are obviously going to be long-term impacts of all that oil and all that dispersant in the water column. We know that. We have the science on that. Sweden has done the studies. Israel, Australia has done the studies. I think it's something like a quarter of all the studies that have been out of 400 that have been done on oil spills have shown this, how toxic that mixture is. And by the way, it's much more toxic than oil alone.
Well, that's not what the EPA is saying. But let me bring Chad in. He wants to ask you a question as well, Professor.
Ms. Shaw, Professor, I'm a little bit curious as to why they would take this shrimp and this inland silver side and make a blanket statement like they did, saying this is less toxic this way than it is this way, when it seems that you have much more information about other species that could be more toxic. Where are you getting that information? And I understand, I heard a couple things, but where do we know, and what will we be seeing from this Corexit 9500 and all the other ones that they might have used for other things than a mysid shrimp and an inland whatever?
Correct. Well, I'll give you, this is what worries me, but I'll give you a couple of examples, okay? With corals, for example. Corals in presence of the mixture have 0% fertilization rates. In the presence of oil alone, they have 98% fertilization rates. And this is, it's been shown in studies. We've done a very thorough review of the literature. It's a very large literature, and we can just back it up with the science.
Yeah. Well, here's
the mixture is lethal to many, many species, and I do think it is species specific, but it goes all the way up to the small fish.